time to say I'm Chris Nachkite. Welcome to APTN National News Daytime on this Friday. We begin with the fallout of the mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge, BC. Devastation and grief are still gripping the small northern town after a lone shooter took the lives of 8 people, including their own life, earlier this week. APTN's Tina House has that story.
What was supposed to be just a routine regular day in Tumbler Ridge, BC, soon turned into chaos.
RCMP received a report of an active shooter at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. A police-initiated public alert, PIPA, was issued as officers responded. Police from Tumbler Ridge RCMP and surrounding detachments responded immediately, with members from the local detachment arriving within 2 minutes of the initial call.
Upon arrival, shots were fired at RCMP members attending the scene.
Officers entered the school to locate the threat. Within minutes, an individual confirmed to be the shooter was located deceased with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The suspect has been identified as 18-year-old Jesse Van Rootselaar, who is a resident of Tumbler Ridge. 2 firearms, a long gun and a modified handgun, were recovered by responding officers.
Police have now confirmed the shooter killed her mother and stepbrother at their home, and that another 6 more at the school. 2 more students were seriously hurt and transported by air ambulance, making that a total of 9 dead, 2 seriously wounded, and 25 others injured. Tumbler Ridge Mayor Daryl Kakauka got emotional at a press conference, talking about the magnitude of this tragedy.
And I think that you can't thank the government enough on the quick action to get counselors on the ground with working with their agencies. It is so important when we see a tragedy like this, with young lives lost, families don't have their children coming home last night.
And miles away from Tumbler Ridge in Squamish, BC, Elder Vera Douglas, Lorelei Williams, and Araya Robb gathered to honor the victims. They came to the forest today to offer 9 medicine bundles and offer their prayers for those affected by this tragedy.
Please send some prayers and love and hope and strength to all those that are sitting in sorrow.
For Araya, she is struggling upon hearing the news. She grew up in Tumbler Ridge and graduated from that school. One of her close friends lost a daughter at the school in the shooting.
Just sending all my love to Tumbler Ridge and the community up there, everybody involved, the families. My heart's breaking.
And here at BC Children's Hospital, 12-year-old Maya Jabala fights for her life. She's being hailed as a hero by trying to lock the library door to save other kids. Today also marks a provincial day of mourning here in BC. Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
Saskatchewan RCMP is requesting the public's help in locating an armed suspect who allegedly robbed a home by gunpoint. Saskatchewan RCMP is looking for 31-year-old Dalen Kapipatau, who also uses the names Dylan Kapipatau or Dalen Ochascheyu. He is wanted for robbery with a firearm, possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose, and careless use of a firearm. Last Monday, Pierceland RCMP received a report of Kapipatau walking in the Big Island Lake Cree Nation with a firearm. RCMP alleged that he pointed a firearm at one person, attempted to steal an ATV, and entered a home where he stole a phone while armed. He is known to travel to Big Island Lake Cree Nation, Island Lake First Nation, and Loon Lake, and his current whereabouts are unknown. If you see Kapipatau, do not approach him. Instead, call RCMP or Crime Stoppers. Big Island Lake Cree Nation is located about 390 kilometers northwest of Saskatoon. A Regina judge has recently ruled there is enough evidence for the chief of the Carry the Kettle Nakota Nation to stand trial. It comes following a preliminary inquiry earlier this week. CTV's Donovan Mays explains what it means for the accused.
A financial crimes case involving the chief of Carry the Kettle Nakota Nation will be going to trial. Scott Tashape was first arrested in March last year following a financial crimes investigation facing multiple charges, including fraud over $5,000, theft over $5,000, money laundering, and breach of trust. The case, the center of a preliminary inquiry, which is a judicial hearing used in serious criminal cases to determine whether the evidence assembled by the Crown against the accused is sufficient to proceed to trial. Now, although the testimony provided during the hearing was given under oath, details and evidence are protected by a publication ban. Judge Lane Wiegers deciding there is enough evidence and Ashape will stand trial for the fraud charge. However, the breach of trust charge has been dismissed, and the chief will now face one count of breach of trust by a public official under a different provision of the criminal code. The theft and money laundering charges have been adjourned to be decided by the Court of King's Bench. Now, this decision does not account to either innocence nor guilt, only that a rightly charged jury could reasonably find a verdict on the basis of the evidence presented during trial. Ashape is now scheduled to appear at the Court of King's Bench next month for pre-trial matters. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
A new university is set to open in Nunavut in 2030. Its supporters say it will offer a whole new range of opportunities to Inuit youth that many did not think possible before. APTN's Fraser Needham has that story.
Riley Winters says the opportunity to take courses in her traditional language was something she missed out on at university.
I mean, it would be amazing just to have the opportunity to attend post-secondary in, community in your homeland. I think it's also another to be able to learn your language, to learn at a place of higher education like that. I personally didn't have the opportunity to learn my language at university, but now this is a possibility.
Winters was speaking at an event in Ottawa earlier this week, where officials announced that the new Nunavut University will be located in Arkvat. Winters' family is from Nunavut, and she attended a post-secondary school in Newfoundland. Kivalik Inuit Association President Kono Tatatni shares Winters' same thoughts.
For young people, this university represents opportunity that we never had. The opportunity to pursue higher education while staying close to home and family, to language and to culture. It represents the opportunity to build careers in fields grounded in Inuit knowledge and Inuit kawimayatokangit. Also, while opening doors to new pathways across Canada and the world.
The university will have 3 different faculties. One will feature courses on Inuit self-determination, another will train health and education workers, and the other will focus on teaching Inuktitut language. Inuit Tapert Kanatami President Nate Nobed says location has been the main barrier preventing Inuit people from attaining a post-secondary education.
I would not be in the role that I am in without university. And I'm sure there are many people in this room that would say the very same thing about where they are in their careers. That is not something that many Inuit have been able to achieve. Breaking down this barrier, giving Inuit more opportunities to achieve whatever it is that they want to do in their lives has everything to do with why we are pursuing this.
Nunavut Tungavik President Paul Ingout adds the next generation of Inuit leadership will be able to attain the skills they need while remaining grounded in culture.
Inuit Nunavut University will be a place where you can learn while staying connected to your community, language, and culture. It will be a place of that nurtures confidence, pride, and leadership, and ensures that you are supported in ways that reflect Inuit ways of knowing and being.
Inuit Nunavut University will be the first Inuit-led university in Canada's Arctic. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
The high cost of groceries is the focus of an upcoming provincial study in Manitoba. That story after the break. Welcome back. A province-led study focused on the rising cost of groceries was launched in Manitoba on Wednesday. The government says it hopes to get it done as quickly as possible so that any recommendations to lower prices can be reflected in their upcoming 2026 budget. Here is what the province's finance minister had to say about the issue.
Food prices are rising faster than wages, and families are being asked to stretch their dollars further and further just to put food on the table.
Manitoba Finance Minister Adrian Sala says the price of food continues to grow at a concerning rate. That's why the province will be one of the first to hold a comprehensive study on grocery pricing practices led by the Manitoba Bureau of Statistics. Sala says the main focus will be on predatory or dynamic pricing, which individualizes prices to match a consumer's buying pattern. The study will find if the practice is used by grocers in Manitoba. It's an issue across North America, with prices varying up to 13% for the same product in some situations, says Sala. He says the possibility of individualized pricing means shoppers can't tell if they're getting a fair deal.
Across North America, retailers are increasingly using automated pricing systems powered by algorithms and shopping patterns to adjust prices in real time. That can mean prices changing based on demand, inventory, competitor behavior, and in some cases based on consumer data. For example, companies can collect information from online shopping, loyalty programs, location data, even browsing patterns. And that data can be used to predict what someone is willing to pay. And in that environment, two people can see two different prices for the same product.
The government of Nunavut celebrated its longest-serving public servants today with one of 3 planned special awards galas. APTN's Justin Hardy reports.
From 20 years to over 45 years of service, Government of Nunavut employees were recognized for their dedication, with some even serving longer than the 27 years Nunavut has been a territory. There were so many public servants to be recognized that 3 individual ceremonies have been planned to get through them all. Thursday's event honored employees from the Qikiqtaaluk region, which covers Baffin Island. Jude Lewis, manager of dental clinics, has served Nunavut for over 25 years. He says he's glad to see all of his longtime colleagues honored.
It's just wonderful, and the people here, they are committed to doing what they are doing, and I think the GN should be happy to have people like us that is committed, raise our family, and be here and serve the people.
Serving communities for so long comes with many challenges, especially in the most crucial of roles, according to 20-year power plant superintendent Stephen Anuya.
Trying to keep the lights on was the most challenging parts, line issues. Trying to keep the lights on is the main issue, especially during wintertime when it's really cold out. Engine problems, we try and keep those. Try and keep them away from engine problems, but they're mechanical engines, so every now and then they break down, so we have to fix them up.
Despite the challenges faced over the years, most of the employees agree that it was well worth it. Director of Expenditure Management, Camilius Ageni, says it was great to grow alongside the territory.
We're seeing all the investment in Nunavut, from various infrastructure we have built. From when we were just a small territory to now, we have built many things. Hospital, hamlets, roads, everything. Roughly, seeing those infrastructure growing is, I think, is just perfect for me. Has been great working for the GN. I have nothing really to regret. I have acquired my master's and PhD working for the GN, so it has been great.
The next 2 award galas will be happening in the coming weeks. Justin Hardy, APTN National News, Iqaluit.
Nouvelle National airs an all-new episode tonight, right after your evening news. Time now to check in with host Kim Sullivan to find out what to expect. Tanse, Kim.
Hey, Creason. Well, first, happy Valentine's Day ahead of tomorrow for all our viewers. Hopefully it's going to be a lovely weekend. Tonight, we tackle economic reconciliation on the show. Also, a new detective sergeant has been added to the Montreal police team dedicated to relations with Indigenous people. We love that. A Mohawk youth is celebrating her Irish roots ahead of green season in Montreal. And we look into the legacy of Indigenous French theatre on Chinook. See you tonight.
Thank you, Kim. Coming up next, we'll speak with Canada's Arctic ambassador and how she hopes the role will shape the future of the North. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. St. John 0, Charlottetown sunny and -6. Nain -1, Happy Valley Goose Bay +2 and flurries. Saguenay -10, Quebec City -9. Ottawa -9, North Bay -10. -9 in Sudbury, Wawa -2. Clear skies in Churchill at -20, cloudy in Thompson at -9. -9 in Gimli, partly cloudy there, Winnipeg -4. North Battleford -4, Regina -4 and partly cloudy. Uranium City flurries in -8, Buffalo Narrows 0. +2 in Fort McMurray, cloudy in Peace River at -4. 8 in Medicine Hat, Red Deer 0. 3 in Vancouver, Campbell River 6. Partly cloudy in Smithers at -1, Prince George -1. -7 in Watson Lake, -14 in Dawson. -20 in Norman Wells, sunny in Watee at -17. Sax Harbor -30, Paulatuck -28. Clear skies in Cambridge Bay at -25, Baker Lake -25. And Resolute -25, Aglulik -24. Our next guest is Virginia Mearns, an Inuk who is based in Iqaluit, Nunavut. She was appointed as Canada's Arctic ambassador by Prime Minister Mark Carney in 2025. Mearns also spent 11 years working with Nunavut Tungavik, where she focused on the social and cultural development for the territory. Here's that interview. Virginia Mearns, thanks so much for joining us today. You were recently appointed Canada's Arctic ambassador. Can you tell us about that position and what it means to you?
Thank you very much. This position is something that was reinstated and a commitment that came about through the release of the Arctic Foreign Policy, which was released in December of 2024. And so this is definitely an incredibly humbling moment for me to be asked to take on this role. This is a critical moment in time for Northern Arctic communities in Canada, with the attention, the global attention on the Arctic in general. But also it is an important gesture, I think, on the part of the Government of Canada to strengthen relationships domestically with Northern Arctic communities.
As Canada's Arctic ambassador, what are the most pressing challenges that will shape the future of the North?
Well, I think there are consistent messaging that we've been hearing from our Northern Arctic communities about the need to invest in critical infrastructure to ensure that our communities can meet the growing demands as the years pass. Some of this critical infrastructure that has been highlighted have been identified for several years as important to our communities, to be able to ensure that our communities are safe and are in a position to grow. And so this is one area that has definitely come up quite consistently in my engagement so far.
With an increase in international interest in the Arctic, how do you think Canada is positioning itself to protect its sovereignty?
Well, this is something that Canada has been discussing and talking publicly about in terms of investing in the North. When it comes to national defense measures, there have been major investments noted that are slated for the Canadian North and the Arctic. And then also the discussions again around general infrastructure are ongoing. Our communities, the leadership from our communities have highlighted this as a critical part of how to respond to the global interest in the Arctic.
And Virginia, what conversations are you having about climate change in the North? What are you hearing from residents, and what is the federal government's message on that?
Yeah. Climate change is most definitely a high priority. This is something that has come about in my conversations with community members, with Northern Arctic leadership, and the impact that is being felt and that is ongoing. These concerns include permafrost thaw, that impact on infrastructure, the community dynamics. Coastal erosion is another area that has come about as well. And of course, wildland fires. We're seeing, unfortunately, this increase in wildland fires that is having a great impact on our northern communities. And so the ways in which Canada is responding to this is, I think, through several measures, whether it is with engagements with specific federal departments in our northern communities, or through the work of the Arctic Council, where we've had leadership from Canadian Indigenous peoples doing research on the impact of wildfires.
As a resident of the North, do you think these discussions and this seat at this big table is long time coming? I'm sure many people in the North have been waiting for more answers from the federal government on so many concerns up there.
Most definitely. And this is something that I was hearing in my engagements during the weeks in the fall, leading up to the holidays over in December of this past year. And so having the ability to talk about these concerns and to be able to highlight Northern-led solutions is something that is a big part of our dialogue that is ongoing right now.
Finally, Virginia, how do you hope this role will help determine Canada's Arctic future?
It's my hope that with this role that we can strengthen our relationships within Canada, to have continuity in the dialogue that is needed on an ongoing basis between our communities and the Government of Canada. If we can maintain that, we're in a much better position to have a reflective positioning internationally on the realities of our Northern Arctic communities.
And lastly, Virginia, with the issues in Greenland and US President Donald Trump making threats towards that country, are people there in your home community worried about Trump's threats and that, you know, his spotlight might turn towards you guys?
Well, at that moment in time when the desires of President Trump were expressed, it was most definitely very concerning for community members in Nunavut, especially because of our geographic proximity to Greenland, but also because we have such strong ties with Inuit in Greenland and Inuit in Nunavut. This created most definitely a level of anxiety that we hadn't experienced before. But in that moment in time, we saw also expressions of solidarity. Solidarity from Nunavut to people of Kalaalleq Nuna, people of Greenland, and that solidarity continues.
Virginia Mearns is Canada's Senior Arctic Ambassador. Virginia, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your time as well.
And that's all the time we have for this Friday's Daytime Newscast. Dennis Ward is back in a few hours for your evening newscast. Please join us then. Your APTN National News daytime and evening newscasts will be back next Tuesday, as we will be away next Monday for Louis Riel Day in Manitoba. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next day.